Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to Gospel Times right here on WURD Progressive Black Talk Media. I'm your favorite church girl, the one, the only, Kayla J, and I'm here with none other than Leah Lloyd from Journey Beyond Counseling, and it is time to get mentally church. Good morning, Leah. Happy Sunday to you. How you feeling?
Good morning. I'm feeling good. I'm here. I'm off the sick and shut in list.
Oh, we give God
Praise God.
praise.
I'm healed. I am healed, or let's just say in active recovery, but um, no longer out. So thank y'all for your patience for the last recording and in the last time out we were together. So now I'm feeling much better.
Well, we praise God that you are off the sick and shut in list and you are in active recovery. We give the Lord praise for your healing. We give the Lord praise. Folks, for this particular Mentally Church, just want to give you a disclaimer that we're going to be talking about some traumatic situations, some things that have happened in the news. So if you know that you have bad anxiety, maybe step away for just a hot second or grab a friend that can sit there with you through this time. Don't want anybody to get re-traumatized by what we're talking about. And with that, we're going to be talking about vicarious trauma. So Leah, go ahead, take it away.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for that disclaimer. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about vicarious trauma. You can't talk about that without talking about trauma or traumatic events. So, vicarious trauma is the emotional residue of exposure that at one point it was, people thought it was more exclusive to like people in helping professions. So, like therapists, people that doctors, nurses, hospital staff, police officers, firefighters, things like that. But it's those people that they come in contact with folks who are dealing with trauma. They hear trauma stories. They may read trauma reports of trauma or harm. And so they become witness to the pain, fear, and terror that trauma survivors have endured. So the people who like do the interviews and things like that. But now we're seeing that more people in the general public are starting to one understand this and identify with this language, and have the same response and have the same reaction to trauma, but it's not like they have experienced it directly. But what's happening is now with and this has happened actually for years, we just now have more evolved language. It's just the emotional connection in response to the nonstop news cycles of traumatic events in the news. So when we talk about school shootings, mass shootings, natural disasters, terrorist attacks, if you notice, it's on every news cycle constantly. Even political news can be traumatic for some people because of what is happening in politics and how politics are being used to cause harm, and folks feel unsafe. And so it is re-triggering to those who have already had some lived experiences, possibly, or just read about it in history and feel like, oh my gosh, things are going backwards. Like there, it drums up a lot of fear and angst. And so vicarious trauma can impact you across the board, emotionally, behaviorally, physically. It can manifest emotionally where you notice that you are agitated, you're feeling hopeless, angry, having mood swings, also thinking about life like ending. Maybe you don't have a plan or anything like that, but you're thinking about what would it be like if you weren't here, or how things could get better if you weren't here, other people weren't here. Behaviorally, it can show up being like acts of rage. So we talk about like the feeling rage, but then the acting on it. So being more volatile. You have a hard time being able to, once you get to that rage state, or being able to calm yourself down. Overeating, under eating, reduction in appetite, hypersomnia or insomnia, due to increased worry or anxiety. Some people struggle to turn off the news because they have to know what's the next thing, or it's so heavy, so you become like avoidant of all information. That can be a behavioral manifestation of vicarious trauma. Self harm, frequent crying, Hyperactivity. So people like, oh, my ADHD is bad. You have been triggered and become highly anxious, possibly. And so that could be fueling hyperactivity, or it can cause issues with cognitive function. And so just being overloaded, you feel like so confused, struggling to make sense of things, struggle to make decisions. And for some people, they this is more of in the emotional state, but you can see it in the physical behaviorally. So that's what I'm talking about. Like sometimes it swings between emotional and behavioral, because you can see it. So people dissociate, which is mental. But what happens is the person actually struggles with the experience. So they're like, did they even have an experience? They have no mental recall of being present or doing things, or they check out. So in layman's terms, you just a check out. It's just like, I was here and I was somewhere else. I came back, but I have no recall of what happened. Or you feel like you were like on the outside looking in. Physically, it can show up in chronic pain in your body, muscle weakness, physical weakness, GI issues, increased blood pressure. So high blood pressure, increase of stroke. So we talk about black and brown people, black people specifically in America, silent killers of heart disease, of high blood pressure. Imagine going through life hearing, one, if you deal with like direct trauma, and also if you hear the stories, internalizing, suppressing it, and how that can be harmful. So also diabetes, headaches, shaking, so weight increase. So we talk about the behavior of overeating, then weight goes up, or under eating, so reduced appetite, and so significant weight loss. And how do we combat this? So some things just very practically, right? So we're dealing with larger systems that we cannot control. We can get politically involved if we want. We can raise our voices in ways, but unfortunately, there are just systems that are in place that we cannot avoid. However, we can decide how we want to engage these particular systems. So first, turn off the news. If it's too heavy for you, turn off the news. And if you want to still remain informed, decide how you want to engage media in the news. Do you only want to read it? And you may go and only get like a snapshot of the top headlines of the day, and that's it. So you decide, like, I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to read. Give yourself like a cutoff. I'm going to do headlines. And so there's also people who will curate like a top 5 news stories of the day, and then that's what they give you. That's it. You take your 15-20 minutes, and it's just like, all right, I step away from that. Or none at all. Maybe you just like, I have to just completely divest from the news and television. Also with social media too, because when I talk about turn off the news, social media now generates a lot of information, whether factual or false, but a lot of propaganda comes through social media. So disconnecting is going to be helpful. Take breaks. So for those people who work in these high trauma environments, take frequent breaks. So take breaks during the day. Don't work through your lunch break. Don't work through your breaks. Take your breaks and step away. Also, take a vacation. The people lose time. I never understood people who be like, oh, I got so much time, they're about to take it back from me. I want you to know that's not my ministry. I'm going to take all the PTO that I possibly can. So y'all take your time, take the sick time, take the PTO, take the wellness days, take whatever they are offering. Make sure you take it, because that is something that will pour into your overall wellness, contribute to your overall wellness, and help you to navigate and sustain during this work. Like, many of us feel called to this work. However, we don't want the work to now be causing us harm, which then can lead to burnout. So make sure you're taking space away from that. And even if it's ministry work, everyone should be taking breaks from that as well. So thinking about clergy, they also deal with vicarious trauma. I didn't list them at the top, but clergy people who are not just pastors, but support staff in churches, they deal with this too. And so taking time away, develop wellness practices. So exercise, meditation, therapy. Y'all know I'm always going to say it, go to therapy, and have fun. So think about like fun activities that you can do and just play. Like, go for a walk, go for a run. If you have children, take them to the playground, go to the pool, like have fun. And remember, like, kids like fun. And also rest. So rest and resistance. So this is a big thing. I'm a follower of the nap ministry, and Trisha Hershey talks about like rest and resistance. So I talked about these systems that we're a part of. And so our systems they tell us that we need to go, go, go. We need to be strong. We need to do things and keep moving forward and pressing through. And I want to encourage you, do not force yourself to push through. If you are tired and you are weary, then say, I am tired and weary and I need to take a break. And I'm not saying check out. What I'm saying is maybe check in. Maybe you need time in a facility for respite. Maybe you need time to check into a hotel so you can take a nap and uninterrupted, and divest from feeding into harmful systems. So like I said, the news cycles, the social media, the propaganda, the groups, the group chats. If you notice that you're just rehashing a lot of traumatic news, go ahead and turn it off and rest. There is power in a nap, y'all. Go lay down. Now, don't stay there. So if you notice that you're staying in the bed longer, then that's a sign that you are, in fact, really having a hard time with this and maybe on your way to being burned out. And so just wanted to give you all like a snapshot of what vicarious trauma is, how it manifests, and how you can support yourself through it. Unfortunately, it's something that we cannot eradicate. However, we can just have some tools so that we can healthily navigate it and make sure that we stay well.
I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate you breaking it down. You stepped on my toes a little bit with the PTO, because I am one where they be like, "You have so many odd
Mm-mm.
hours on the." Because I don't take off.
Mm-mm.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. Um, but one thing I want to ask you about vicarious trauma, you kind of touched on it, but I just want to make sure it's clear. Um, for big things that happen in our society, we know that police brutality is really big right now. Mass shootings are really big right
Mm-hmm.
now. You said take a break, right, from
Mm-hmm.
watching the news and watching social media. But what do you do when it's like on repeat? You taking your break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you even taking a month off from it,
Mm-hmm.
but once you get back, it's right there again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right there again, because it's some things are always on replay. A month or 2 months pass, and we think that the story is dead, and then they bringing it back up because it's
Mm-hmm.
now time for the trial and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. So what do we do when it seems like it's taking a break, but now it is fleshing back up again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's putting us back in? We may not be looking at it, but we're getting all the updates about the officer, about the victim's family. How does one shift those feelings in that, like sift through that particular time?
Yeah, so it goes back to divesting from the system. So news is a machine. And
Mhm.
so it's going to always be there. And so we don't have to engage it. And exactly what you said, it may quiet down. It's going to come back for updates, circle backs, all of that. And so that's us suggesting how you engage it. So maybe you really never watch the news formally again, and you just read updates. You may decide that I'm only going to do 15 minutes a day, Monday through Thursday or Friday. So you set your boundaries and parameters for how you want to engage the content. So you're not just in it. And I know with social media, it pops up, but you can curate like the algorithm. If you put enough positive on, it kind of will feed out some of the other stuff. So unfollowing people that maybe are the
Mm,
reposters. We
okay.
all know those people that will
Yeah.
repost everything. You can just unfollow them, and that'll quiet some things down and really start to curate spaces in your social media that help you to be well and center wellness and positive news. Now, what I'm saying is not creating a utopia, fake utopia, but like I said, there are machines that we can't control. However, we
Mhm.
do not have to be controlled by it. And so we have the autonomy to decide how we want to absorb content. And so, just like I said, building in some boundaries, and you don't have to watch it. The news will be there. So you literally don't have to watch it every day. And if it's something important enough, somebody will tell you. That's what I do know,
Very
is
true.
that if it's something that's major enough, somebody will say, hey, have you heard about this? You may want to turn on the news today for a few minutes so that you can be informed. and then be like, all right, I'm informed, I know what's happening, and off it goes.
Got you. Appreciate that, Leah.
Mhm.
Appreciate your time to talk to us about vicarious trauma. This is a first conversation of something that Leah and I are working on. We wanted to set some foundation for you all. So hopefully, if you've been getting traumatized vicariously through either of your screens or just by people's stories, hopefully this helped you and you're able to walk away from the situation feeling just a little bit better and with some good tips that Leah has given us on how we need to walk this life for through this time, because I'm telling you, it seemed like every day we turn around
It's a
there's
lot,
some
yeah.
traumatic event happening.
And I also want to add that these things are also transferable to our children, and that we'll have a more expansive conversation during the summer, possibly as we build it out. But these things are still true. So
Hmm.
figuring out how to disseminate information to children on their level, and supporting them with staying active, having healthy tools to navigate if they have elevated stress or anxiety or worry. But as their caregivers, we need to make sure that we have our stuff together first, so that then we can best support them. And we will we will have a more expansive conversation in the coming months.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you, Leah. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for helping us navigate this conversation. It's tough conversation, heavy conversation,
Mhm.
but very necessary and needed for our community, for every
Mhm.
community, but especially our community because
Mhm.
we experience so many traumas, past, present, and I'm pretty sure in the future, unfortunately. But let us know how we can talk to you when you're not here.
So the best way to communicate with me is to go to my website and the contact me page. So journeybeyondcounseling.com. Go to the contact me page, fill out the form, and I will respond there. That is the best way. That is it. And if you DM me on Instagram through the Journey Beyond page, I will direct you to the website. So I would just like you all to go straight to the website. That's the best way to do it. So no DMing on other platforms, no calling unless it's to the information on the website. That'll be the best way to contact me to get any questions answered or to inquire about services.
Awesome. So go to Journey Beyond Counseling, and there is a form there that you can fill out.
Mm-hmm.
That is the best way and the
Mm-hmm.
only way you should be
Mm-hmm.
contacting Leah at this particular time. All
Yeah,
right. She will get back to you. She
I
is
sure
very,
will.
she's very good with that. She's better than me. Okay. She will get back to you.
I
Okay.
absolutely will get back with you. I love engaging with people and want to hear. And if I can, some things are just out of my scope and out of my reach, but I do try to direct people to the appropriate channels. If you are
Mhm.
in crisis, this is not a crisis line. Let's be it's so very clear. I'm not a crisis response center. So you go to those places. This is for if you're interested in individual therapy, wellness coaching, you want me to share something in an interview or do a training or coaching session. That's the or some type of collaborative work. That's where you would what you would take to the form on my website.
Awesome. Awesome. Again, Leah, appreciate you taking time out as always
Thank
to help us
you.
get mentally churched here on Gospel Times.
Hi, y'all.
All right, folks, we have to go, but you're listening to WURD Progressive Black Talk Media.